Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks so much for joining me today as I play with some new MFT goodies, the Tweet Friends stamp sets and dies, and some older bits and pieces as well. I have a very favourite card maker, and that's Melania Deasy or Melania Deasy. I do not know how you say it, but boy do I love her work. Everything she does I just admire. And she recently did a card for MFT with these beautiful little Tweet Friend birds, coloured so subtly in pink and yellow, and I just loved the look of it so much. I really wanted to recreate the look, so I hope Melania doesn't mind. Melania, however you say her name, someone help me. I hope she doesn't mind me casing or being inspired by her work. I certainly have changed my card up a bit and it's not exactly the same, but I did colour my little birds like she coloured hers. I tried to really emulate that because I just loved the look of it so much. So on her card she used some new silhouette stamps that MFT had just brought out, and of course I haven't got those, but I did have this older stencil, so I'm using my stencil to do some, first of all, just some plain stenciling with two colours of distress ink, squeezed lemonade and spun sugar, because I'm sticking to this pink and yellow theme. And then I'll go over the top of the inked flowers. I'll do a layer on top and I will heat emboss them with some Nuvo beautiful copper blush embossing powder. So that's instead of Melania did some heat embossing as well, but using a silhouette stamp set. So as you can see, I'm just inking in here portions of the flowers in some cases, just to get some colour where I want it. And then I do keep a sponge dauber for my VersaMark embossing ink. So that's what you see me using here. And now I'm using my sponge dauber to apply the sticky embossing ink, holding things in place with some of the blue painter's tape, and then I can carefully peel that off, add my copper blush embossing powder. I love this stuff. I've got it in gold as well, and it is so beautiful. It just melts like butter. I sound like Laura Basson now, except without the accent. And look, it just melts so beautifully with your heat tool. It's just effortless. So that's adding another layer, and I work my way across my oval area, which is going to be sort of the focal area behind my two little Tweet Friends today. So I won't show you every flower, but here's the second one just being inked up, and then I'm able to apply my powder again, brushing off any excess with a brush that I keep for that purpose. There's a little bit in near the stem there that I just wasn't game to get in with this brush, so I looked in my tools for a tiny little pokey tool that I could just sort of scrape away a little bit of excess embossing powder that had just clung on there where I didn't want it. So I can brush away the little stray bits of powder, heat it up, melt that section, and then continue on adding another heat embossed bloom to the right hand side. So you just see me taking away the stencil at this point so that I can add my powder to, I love that little spray, whatever it's called. Sort of reminds me of reeds in a way, but I love the look of it, whatever it is. It's an old stencil. It is an MFT stencil called Wildflowers. It's a mixables stencil, it says at the top, and it's come in handy over the years, that's for sure. So then I got out some old paper from Heidi Swap called Dreamy, and I cut this pink and yellow pattern using that Avery die that you see there, which is called the Oval Burst die. Now I know the area, I've marked it with pencil, so I sort of know where the oval falls here, and I just want to make that area a little bit more detailed. So I'm adding some splatters of the same Distress ink colours, the Spun Sugar and the Squeezed Lemonade. And I just knocked everything there, so sorry about the movement of my camera. Reaching to get a tissue, and my poor old camera got a bit of a beating. So adding all my splatters now in Squeezed Lemonade. And I love the look that gives, just gives it a bit more of a textured, detailed look. Then it's time for some foam tape all around the outside, which is going to be covered, of course, with that Avery die cut, the oval burst. So I can add that now once I've revealed all the sticky part of the foam tape. Then I can add my double-sided tape to the back of my patterned paper, and this patterned paper is from an old Kaisercraft set called Cherry Blossom. Colours seem to work, and I can add my oval burst piece on the top. Then it's time for my little tweet friends. Now I am trying to achieve a very light colouring on these two. Now that is not always easy, I find, with Copic markers. They have a lot of colour in them, so you have to go really, really light with your colour choices. So I'm trying to list the colours for you so you'll know what I have used. If you have a look at the top of the screen, you will see listed the colours that I've chosen today. Now this one, RV04, it was far too dark or bright, so I tried to not add too much and tried to blend it out with the RV02. And then at times my colourless blender really comes in handy, because that little Y06 just seemed to bleed a little bit where I didn't need it. And this colour was way too bright, so as I was mixing it or adding it here, I'm thinking, oh, this little birdie is looking a lot brighter than I really wanted him to. So I come in with my colourless blender, thank the Lord for the colourless blender, and I wipe away with the colourless blender a lot of that colour. And it seems to work. I am generally happier with the paler yellow that I've achieved there. So continuing to use the pinks just to add a little bit of colour between, or in parts I should say, and it's just a matter of working between those pale yellows and the pale pinks to colour these sweet little tweet friends. So I'll leave you with the colouring now. You'll see all the colours listed above, and I'll be back when the colouring is complete. So once I do have these two dear little friends coloured up, I use the matching die cuts, cut them out, and then I create a coordinating piece that I can use for my sentiment, which comes from the same Tweet Friends MFT stamp set. And I'm going to stamp "You Make My Good Times Great" along this piece that I've coloured with my Copics. Then I flag cut that little piece, add it at the bottom, along with some sparkling clear sequins, and my card is complete.